The night Rebecca told me she was having another baby, I didn't congratulate her. I just stared at the broken washing machine I'd been fixing with duct tape and prayer. 3 years vanished into thin air, playing mom to kids who already had one. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 20, and I used to paint murals for local businesses. Now I paint stick figures with crayons because that's all I have time for. I deliver pizzas until 2 a.m., come home smelling like pepperoni and regret, then wake up at 6 to pack lunchboxes. Birthday parties, parent-teacher meetings, swimming lessons, flu shots. She says I'm being a good aunt. I say I'm being used. Everyone assumes younger sisters exist to clean up older sisters' messes. I cleaned for 3 years straight. You know what my reward was? Getting blamed when her husband couldn't find the TV remote. She said I should be grateful she lets me crash in their basement. That dark, moldy basement with spiders and no windows. I smiled through everything. That was her biggest weapon against me, because when I stopped smiling, I didn't just frown. I planned my escape like a prison break. They assumed I was too weak to leave. They were about to learn I was done being weak. Every morning starts in darkness. 4 alarm clocks, 4 personalities, 4 different crisis situations before breakfast. Jacob and Grace argue over who sits in the front seat. Ethan dumps an entire box of cereal on the floor because the toy inside wasn't what he wanted. Baby Lily screams until her face turns red because I gave her the wrong sippy cup. My coffee turns to ice before I take one sip. The drive to school feels like transporting chaos in a metal box. Singing, crying, are we there yet every 30 seconds. I drop them off and race to the pizza shop where my boss yells about late deliveries. 12 hours of hot ovens, angry customers, and tips that barely cover gas money. Then I'm back at the house again, checking homework that somehow multiplied, cooking chicken nuggets for the millionth time, folding clothes that never end, reading the same bedtime story until I can recite it in my sleep. Tomorrow I'll do it again, and again. And again until I forget what my name even sounds like. Rebecca works as a dental assistant during the day, goes to the gym at night, and posts selfies about self-care. Her husband Brian watches sports, talks about being a provider, but I've never seen him provide anything except excuses. You're just so patient with them, Rebecca says with that sweet fake voice. It's not a compliment, it's a leash. I'm mothering her bobbies while she mothers her Instagram feed, and he mothers his fantasy football team. My cousin Jessica finally tells me the truth I'm too exhausted to see. Sarah, you're drowning. You're not their parent. Stop acting like you owe them your entire existence. Her words burn like touching fire because they're real. Every cent I earned delivering pizzas in the rain, every second of my youth, every dream I had about art school, gone. Traded for someone else's happiness while mine collected dust in that basement. Late at night, I pull out my old sketchbook and flip through drawings from when I actually had time to create. The pages feel ancient, like artifacts from another lifetime. I haven't drawn anything real in over a year. I'm not living in my story anymore. I'm just a background character in theirs. But here's the thing. I do love those kids. When Jacob shows me his science project, when Grace asks me to teach her to braid hair, when Ethan finally says please and thank you, when Lily waddles over for hugs, my heart wants to explode with love. But loving someone shouldn't mean erasing yourself completely. They called it family duty. I called it becoming invisible one day at a time. Everything shifted when one sentence wouldn't leave my brain. Jessica's voice on repeat. You're allowed to choose yourself, Sarah. Those 5 words haunted me everywhere. At red lights in the shower while scraping dried macaroni off plates at midnight. Then Rebecca dropped her latest bomb on me. You need to quit the pizza job, she announced while scrolling through her phone. The kids need you here full time. Plus you're 20 now, you should contribute to household bills. Brian grunted agreement from his recliner without looking away from the game. You've been freeloading long enough. FRELODNG. That word detonated in my chest like dynamite. People who are free don't feel like PRISONERS. I stared at the water stain on the ceiling, counting to 10 so I wouldn't explode. I already sacrifice everything, I said through clenched teeth. Every single day. Everything, Rebecca scoffed. Sacrifice? You mean living here rent-free? Do more, Sarah. My art, my future, my dreams, she called them childish fantasies. When I refused to quit my job, her mask slipped off. You're being selfish, Sarah. After everything we've done for you. That night I whispered to Jessica on the phone, hiding in the bathroom. She acts like she owns me. She doesn't own you, Jessica said, fierce. Saying no isn't being cruel, it's being human. Those words cracked something open inside me. I opened my laptop and searched for rooms to rent. Tiny spaces across town, nothing pretty, but they'd be mine. My savings from pizza deliveries and birthday money. $2,300, barely enough for deposit and 1 month's rent if I was careful. I grabbed notebook paper and did the math until my eyes crossed. $900 for rent, $300 for food and basics. If I worked 40 hours weekly and sold some artwork online, I could maybe, possibly, barely survive. Barely free still beats completely trapped. For the first time in forever, something that felt like hope started growing. I began teaching Jacob how to make simple sandwiches, showed Grace how to start the dishwasher, taught Ethan which button turns on the TV. I didn't announce I was leaving. Not yet. I was preparing them secretly, like hiding supplies before a storm nobody else sees coming. Rebecca noticed me researching rental prices. "What's that about?" she demanded. "Just looking," I said casually. Her laugh sounded like breaking glass. "Planning your great escape. How predictable and selfish." Every night I packed a few items. Favorite shirts, art supplies, the few things that still felt like me. Each item whispered, "You're almost out." I'd wake before dawn, watch stars fade into sunrise, and imagine what freedom sounded like. A place where Sarah wasn't just another word for do everything now. When guilt whispered that I was abandoning them, I reminded myself of facts. Love shouldn't require disappring. Family isn't supposed to feel like unpaid labor with no escape. I'd carried their weight until my back nearly broke. Time to stand straight again, even if my legs felt like jelly. I stopped fighting with Rebecca. Can't win arguments against people who need you silent to survive. So I went quiet and packed more each night. I wasn't abandoning those children. I was escaping their mother. The morning I left, everyone was still sleeping. No speeches, no tears, just a whispered goodbye to the house that never felt like home. My car had 2 duffel bags, my art portfolio, and 3 years of exhaustion. The room I rented smelled like old carpet and new BGINNINGS. Both unfamiliar, both mine. I texted Jacob. "Movie night soon, I promise." Rebecca didn't text. Perfect. 6 days later, an unknown number lit up my phone. "This is Officer Bradley calling." My stomach flipped upside down. "Your sister reported stolen property and vandalism. I need you to come down." My hands shook so bad I nearly dropped my phone. I drove there replaying every moment, every kindness I'd shown, every time I bit my tongue. Rebecca stood on the porch looking righteous. She stole my laptop and DESDROIED the kid's tablet and broke the kitchen window. Brian stood beside her like a silent statue with arms crossed. My voice came out steady despite my racing heart. "That's completely false." Officer Chen motioned inside. "Let's examine the evidence." In the kitchen, the window had a baseball-sized crack. The tablet screen was shattered. "This crack has weathering around it," Chen observed, running his finger along it. "Been here a while. And this tablet damage looks like impact, not intentional destruction." Rebecca's voice went up 3 levels. She had access to everything. She knew where I kept valuables. "Then produce the laptop and show us where it was stored," Bradley said calmly. Suddenly Jacob came down the stairs, hands shaking but eyes determined. "Mom's lying," he said, voice cracking but clear. "That window cracked during the hailstorm 2 months ago. We just never fixed it." "What about the tablet?" Chen asked gently. "Ethan dropped it down the stairs last week. It was an accident." Jacob looked right at me, eyes apologetic. "Sarah didn't take anything. She actually left her old phone here for us to use for emergencies." Silence thick as fog filled the room. Officer Bradley exhaled long. "Ma'am, filing false reports wastes police resources and is punishable by law." "This is your only warning." They walked out. Rebecca's face shifted from anger to humiliation like melting ice. I didn't smile, didn't say anything mean, just looked at this stranger wearing my sister's face. Outside, Jacob ran to my car. "I'm sorry," he said, tears in his eyes. "You deserved better." He was 13 but understood more than adults twice his age. I hugged him tight, whispering, "You were brave today." "Thank you." He shrugged, trying to be tough. "You were brave for US for 3 years, my turn." That night in my tiny rented room, I sat in darkness, breathing deep. The quiet felt strange, almost too loud. Freedom doesn't come in pretty PACKAGES. It comes in aftermath, the kind that stings before it SOOTHES. My phone kept buzzing, Rebecca's name appearing like a bad dream. I let it go to voicemail. I'd already answered too much for too long. In that silence, I made a promise to myself. No more shrinking to fit someone else's story. No more being the supporting character in my own life. The weight in my chest wasn't guilt. It was peace finally arriving. She called cops on me, but her own son spoke truth. After the police incident, Rebecca went silent, but her silence was plotting. For weeks later, Jessica sent me screenshots. She's posting about you everywhere, saying you're a thief who abandoned innocent children. I stared at my phone, heart pounding. Even escape had costs. The posts spread like disease. Her friends shared, distant family whispered. People from high school I barely remembered asked if I'd really stolen from children. I didn't respond at first. I WANTED too. Desperately wanted to scream truth. But I'd learned drama needs attention like fire needs oxygen. Then Jacob texted again. You should tell people what really happened. They believe her lies. That broke my silence. I sat at my tiny desk, opened my laptop, hands steady this time. Instead of rage, I wrote simple truth. I raised 4 children for 3 years without pay. Bought their clothes, made their meals, sacrificed my dreams, and when I finally left to save my own life, they called it theft and abandonment. Walking away from people who use you isn't selfish. It's survival. I posted and logged off immediately. By next morning, everything changed. Messages flooded in from complete strangers. Women who'd been used by family, people who'd escaped toxic situations, survivors who understood. They called me courageous. Some called me inspiration. For the first time ever, my name meant strength instead of doormat. Jessica called screaming with joy. Sarah, you're viral, like actually trending. I laughed until I cried. Apparently, truth travels faster than lies. Even Rebecca's loyal friends started DLETNG their hateful comments. Brian vanished like fog when sunshine arrives. The next afternoon, Rebecca appeared at my door, eyes swollen, voice sharp. You made me look like a monster to everyone. I opened the door just a crack. No, Rebecca, you did that yourself. She looked at my tiny space like it was a crime to want independence. You think you're special now? No, I said, calm but firm, just finally equal. Her expression hardened, then crumbled. She turned and left without another word. My small rented room became more than shelter. It became evidence. Evidence that freedom comes from standing firm when everyone says sit down. People contacted me through that viral post. A gallery owner wrote, someone with your strength should showcase their art. Within 3 weeks, I had my first art show booked. Every painting I created, every mural I designed felt like building WALLS she couldn't knock down. I wasn't hiding. I was CREATING. They tried burying me with lies. I grew gardens with truth instead. 5 months later, life found its rhythm. Morning coffee I actually taste, art commissions, gallery meetings, real laughter, all mine. My room smelled like acrylic paint and jasmine candles, not resentment or obligation. Jessica visited weekly, sharing updates. Jacob started therapy. Grace joined soccer. Ethan's grades improved. Lily started preschool. Their lives moved forward without Rebecca's manipulations suffocating them. It hurt knowing their pain, but it healed watching them grow. Rebecca kept posting about redemption that never came. Real change requires accountability, not just pretty words. I stopped checking her pages. Peace doesn't need proof. One evening while finishing a commissioned mural, I saw my reflection in the window glass. Same girl who felt invisible, but now she radiated light. I thought freedom would be loud like thunder, but real peace whispers. It doesn't burn, it BREATHES. My phone buzzed. Jacob's text, we love you, Sarah. You taught us to be brave. Simple words healing everything shame once buried. I typed back, I love you all too, so much. This is my story of giving everything, losing myself, and learning that choosing you isn't selfish. It's where everything good begins. If family ever made you feel guilty for saving yourself, you didn't abandon love. You found yourself. Share your story below. I read everyone. Because sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is choose your life over their comfort. That's not selfish. That's survival.